Five, four, three, two, one, man. It's time to have some fun tonight. Yeah,
Amen.
excuse us for being a little tardy because I got the man in the house tonight, the master, Dr. Ellis, Dr. Ron Ellis, my man, going all the way back to 1971. My
Yes,
brother, we go
sir.
way back. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm blessed by the best. Won't settle for less.
I almost forgot to click you over there on Instagram, but I got you. So we live on all the platforms tonight, and I'm excited to have you here, man, because your story is so compelling. You know, we're
Amen.
gonna be talking about your books, man. We're gonna be talking about these two tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So I play a little music, get that going to just get us started. But when I stop it, I make it official just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So good. So hey, listen, my wife just gave me the green light that everything is good and we're looking all right. How you doing, man? You know, it's just a pleasure to have you on the show. Dr. Ron Ellis is in the house. Talk to me, doctor.
Hey, it's such a blessing, man, to have the opportunity with a close friend of mine like yourself to be able to impact and change the world, man. That's what it's all about, my brother.
You say it all in a mouthful. You see, when I ran into you, we have to share this very quickly, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
I hadn't seen Dr. Ron Ellis, and I was calling him by his nickname. He told me, "Man, shut up! Don't call me that no more."
I
And
told you he was dead.
after and
That
listen
man
and check it out.
dead.
Yeah, after I got your credentials, I had to shut up because I'm feeling you, my brother. You have been on a mission. Remember, we hadn't seen each other since the 70s or something,
That's
man.
right. That's
I mean,
right.
I'm being
That's
real.
right.
And for me to be taking my granddaughter to a pre-graduation dinner over at PF Chains at the Sawgrass, not the Sawgrass, excuse me, the Brandon Mall, Sawgrass down here in South Florida. That was the Brandon Mall, right?
Right.
That's right. We were walking in the Brandon Mall. I turned
Yeah.
the corner. We connected just like that. And I
Yeah.
hollered out the old name and I told him I'd never mention it again. But when I hollered it, that's all I could think of because I went back to Middleton High School, my man. And I looked
Hey.
at you and I said, wow, what are the chances? And I said, aha, this is a God incident. And
Yes, it
I
was.
had no idea that you were reverend. I had no idea that you have a doctorate in biblical studies. A doctorate, ladies and gentlemen, in biblical studies, Dr. Ron Ellis. And I'm going to put Reverend in that because he's also the minister and senior pastor of his church right there in Southern Florida. So with all that said tonight, and I'm telling you the absolute truth, this man is a retired teacher like me. I put 31 years in. Dr. Ellis, how many years you put in as a teacher?
35 years, my brother.
Woo! You got me by 4, baby. That's 3.5 decades, man. That is all right. I
Yeah.
love hearing that. I thought I was the only one out here crazy enough to do more than 5 or 10 years in the school system. People ask me all the time, "Man, why don't you become an AP? Or why don't you become a principal? Or why don't you become an administrator downtown?" And I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about tonight. When I had other IPs, intellectual properties, that Gregory Griffith could monetize, Dr. Ellis, and you know what I'm talking about, I decided to just stay in the classroom, and I was very comfortable there. I loved it. I'm a retired teacher of 31 years of high school kids. What grade sector were you teaching and coaching?
I was teaching sixth through ninth grade.
Nice. And what
Yeah.
subject was it?
It was physical education.
Got it. So you were never a coach in the system, mainly a teacher.
No, no, yeah, no. I was a teacher and a coach at Armwood High School.
Aha. And now we get the whole story, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
And matter
all
of
right,
fact,
man.
Armwood High School was right down the street from the school, which is Burnett, that I was teaching at. So it made it, very
Perfect.
smooth connection.
No doubt. Yep. How many years did you coach?
I coached it about 5 years before I went international because after we won the 3 state championships,
Okay.
corporate started calling me in. So that's when I began to fade out with Onward for the 3 year state championship and go corporate. So I went corporate. Then from corporate, I went international.
That sounds like a big deal, man, that they had to call you up. You know, it's very interesting how much alignment we have. I coached cross country for 7 years of my life, and I started running marathons because of me being a head coach for cross country. And guess what? I didn't know it, but God had me set up, man. I always hold up one of my medals. This is one of my 25 medals, Dr. Ellis, that I ran 25 marathons, and I didn't have the idea at all that I would start running marathons because I was activated from being a coach. And that's why I said to people that when you got things that you just love to do, well, there's passion, there's purpose,
Amen.
and there'll always be possibilities. And it sounded to me like from what you were doing just to inspire and empower the kids. I saw in the back of one of your books, you went in and did an empowerment session. I did the same thing with my high school, the same thing you did,
Mhm.
and they went on to win their playoffs over back in
Amen.
Flanagan High, man. Way back in the day when I started teaching back there in 1996, man. And it's amazing. And consider I have seen you in all these years, and what you and I would have in common is just, it blows me away, man. That's
Oh
why I
yes.
said
Oh
it's
yes.
just no coincidence. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to give the floor totally to the doctor. My first question always, Dr. Ellis, is what is your why for BAM International? You know, and I'm wearing your wristband tonight. And I've been wearing it for weeks because I started thinking about you. You know,
All right.
BAM, believe,
Hey,
achieve,
achieve
and
and
maximize,
maximize. And
So
you
tell
know,
us about that.
okay, well, my why is to develop, mentor, and equip men and women to grow spiritually, to become effective leaders, and fulfill their God given purpose.
Mm,
That's my why.
hmm And that was the etiology of BAM.
Hey, bam, tell her, yeah, bam, to, to believe, achieve, and maximize that you have purpose in life to accomplish those goals.
Mm. That for me. Now, what year did you become incorporated and get that acronym BAM for BAM to be your global international empowerment sessions?
Good question. Well, it was back in 2004 or 5 that Onward High School coach called me over to help develop their team to state championship level. So they asked me, would I be the mental coach, the motivational coach?
Mm.
Because they had a goal of going state. And there hasn't been a state championship in Tampa, Florida in over 20 years. So they asked me to come in, and that was the only piece missing was the mental part of the game.
Mm.
And so they brought me in to bring that level of thinking to the field.
Wow. Can I intervene and ask you a question?
Sure.
So you were not coaching any actual position on the football team. You were there as a mental mentor. You were there
Right.
just
That
to
that's
shift. You were there to shift their mindsets, right?
That's what I was called for that assignment to do. See, you can have great athletes, a great team, but if they don't have the mental capacity under stress, pressure, and
Hello.
situation, you'll never ride to that championship level
Yes.
because of what you will be faced getting there.
Yes, sir. You know something, man? Like I said, and it's just amazing talking to you. And I'm sitting there thinking about everything I went through. The same thing. I walked out my classroom in Flanagan High School. A coach was there with 40 kids, about half of them girls and boys. And Coach Tab Sassy at Flanagan High in the fall of 1996, Dr. Ellis. And I said to him, man, look like you could use a little help. And back then, you know what? The only thing I had ever ran in my life, the Gasparilla Classic in Tampa. That's the
Mm.
only thing I ever ran in Tampa. Now, you know Afro Piles,
Yes, sir. He
you
was the
know,
running back. I was his blocker because I played both ways.
yeah,
I
man,
played
all these people that
offense.
were running backs and all that. Did you, what is Herbert's last name? I can't think of
Herbert.
Herbert's name. Herbert was not a football player, but he lived around the corner from me. Herbert was a runner all the time. I used to see him. I was probably the only other black guy in Tampa running. But my point is this, man. I started running way back then, fresh out of FAMU. Got my business degree, threw it on the shelf, got in the music business, and came back home, man, and was just doing a little sub teaching and playing music full time. And I would run all the time. And I knew
Mhm.
it was something in me that I could run further than a 10K. Fast forward, man, I get a job as a teacher. I walk out my classroom. I ask the man if he need help. I didn't know God would set me up, Dr. Ellis. I got
Uh-huh.
the head coach job for cross country. My girls had never even been to the playoffs or done anything like that. This was the inaugural year. This was the first year of that high school opening. The first year. So everything was fresh. Man,
Yes.
within 2 years, I had a state champion that went on to get a full ride to Florida State University.
Hmm.
And that is why I said and you know why? I was already over the age of 40. The monster was trying to tell me what you and I are going to talk about. Oh man, you too old. You can't do it. What do you mean you want to run a marathon? What do you mean you want to be a coach? I was teaching full time, performing full time at night.
Yeah.
I was doing a whole lot already. And something inside me said, yes, I can, and I can do it. And you know something, man, I got addicted. And it sounded to me like I got in those girls' head, got in my own head. And within 3 months of coaching them, by the time the cross country season ended, I ran my first marathon. So I know what you're saying. And it was all a mental game, man. It was exactly what you're talking about. So you stayed on board in the mental capacity as a mentor, and you did that for 5 years. And you telling me that you were able to transition them and transform them into the kind of players that would be winners. Now, I mean,
Hey,
that
that's
had to be
great. That's
that had to
great.
be
Hey,
that had to be
that's my
like,
calling. That's my calling. That's my
wow,
calling is to help those who have a desire to win in life, how to develop that mentally,
yes.
how to take that to that next level mentally. And
Mhm.
it requires discipline to do that. It
No doubt.
requires it requires discipline, because if you don't have the discipline, your mind will be going all different places when it sees things. If it
Oh,
sees things that it can't agree with, it's going to start to doubt. So
mhm.
that's what the mind is the first thing that controls the whole house of the body. Your
Mm.
thinking.
Oh no, you know I know because I lived it.
Yeah.
I lived it,
Yeah.
man. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here
Yeah.
to tell you that at the age of 50, I even ran the New York City Marathon, man, and everything in the world was trying to talk me out of it. So here's the big question. I have to, because I got to keep this focus wrap. I'm gonna bounce back to you. Listen, man. You've earned a doctorate in biblical studies, man. I got the book
Now
here in front of me.
I don't let me say this. That
Yeah.
ain't the only degree I have.
Yeah, no, I know you got to look. I got your credentials right here. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. This brother has his master's degree already, man. He did that, a master's of Christian counseling from Cornerstone University, got his doctorate from Kingdom Life University, and his undergraduate there from Concord University. And you see, let's go back to your college days. Did you play football in college?
Yes, I
Thank you.
received a football scholarship.
Thank you. That's why I want to come from this place about mind, body, and spirit. See, your tenacity and audacity to function in the capacity was activated as a kid when you and I was at Middleton High.
Yes, sir.
I was in the
Yes, sir.
marching band, man.
Yes.
I was over there, playing my trumpet. I never knew that playing that trumpet like that would take me to the FAMU Marching 100. But the same passion you had for your football, I've always had for music. And to this day, I'm still a professional musician. That's why I tell people, once you have a passion and you ignite your purpose, it works. Now, this is what I have to ask you, man. You're also a senior minister of the Exalted Word Ministries. That's your
See,
church, right? That's your
senior
church.
pastor, senior pastor.
Senior pastor for that church. Now, when you started coaching, and you were already a teacher, were you already a minister? Had you already became an ordained minister, a pastor? Had that happened in your life yet?
Yeah, well, that happened during the time I was a teacher. During that time of my calling, I also had my own insurance agency,
Mm-hmm.
Ron Ellis Insurance Agency. And so when I was called, I was teaching and had an insurance agency. So once I began to work my insurance agency, and I made college master school rookie of the year in the insurance business. Then after that, the Lord called me into another area, and that area was coaching in that area of leaving from that area of insurance agency where I was at. I left that, and then I went into coaching, and just doing different things. I was a guy that always believed that I can do anything that I put my hands to do because of the scriptures. And I was raised with that mindset. Even though, my brother, we was in an environment where we was raised as young folks in high school. You know how that was.
Yeah,
In our environment, they told us what we couldn't do, what we
hello,
can't do.
hello.
You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't
Yes.
do that. But you know what? I found out as I began to study the Word of God that that was a lie. That was a lie that came from the devil. That was
Yes.
a lie that kept me or trying to keep me from being the best I can be through Christ Jesus. So, guess what? I began to study the word and know for myself who I am in Christ, what belongs to me in
Mm,
Christ, and my
mm.
position in Christ.
Yes. Let me ask you a question, and let me make sure I got you. A preacher's son, right?
Yes.
Well, see, you now need to tell us the whole story. You see, coming up in that kind of environment, coming up around a foundation of Christ all the
Hmm.
time. And trust me, I've had guests on my show who came up the same way, and their kids went astray,
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
became atheists, literally didn't go all the
Yeah.
way in like you. So where was the anchor? Where was that transition that transformed you? What
Oh, what
happened,
a
Dr. Ellis? When did you just say, you know what? I know this work and I'm going to work it. So tell us that. I need to know because everybody don't want to be a doctorate in biblical studies. Everybody don't want to be a
yeah.
pastor. Everybody don't want their own church. My friend, you have that. And something said you went all in in the name of the Lord.
Amen. Well, I can remember when I was 12 years old, and don't and my parents wasn't financial stable. They was low income. We stayed in a low income environment, which was Jackson Heights. But I recognized and noticed that there was people that was hungry for success,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have it.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to tell them how, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have it. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a desire to
Mm-hmm.
hunger. So one morning, I woke up and
Okay.
I woke up and the Lord spoke to me. And this is the word he spoke to me. He said, if you obey my voice,
Uh-huh.
you will be a peculiar treasure unto me.
Mm.
He said, if you obey my voice. Now, see, the key of my success, it wasn't based on me. It was based on obeying his voice.
Mm. Mm.
There's many voices you hear in the world that try to distract you from
Hello.
achieving.
Hello.
Some tried it and didn't make it, telling you what to do.
Hello.
Some couldn't even go that way to make it. So you got many voices telling you what to do, but I heard his voice.
I love it. I got to go there. Psalm 46:10 says, be still and know that I'm God. So,
That's right.
and I guess for the
Oh,
remainder of this show, I told my wife to make sure I don't forget my hat. And you
God
see
first, brother.
you see what my
God
hat
first.
say.
I can't sugarcoat it. I can't sugarcoat it. It's not about me. It
Uh-huh.
ain't about me, brother.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. If it wasn't from him, I wouldn't be nothing. I don't know about
Mm,
everybody else, but
mm.
me, I wouldn't be nothing. But guess what? Because of my faith, my
Yes.
trust in
Yes.
him and his promises,
Mm-hmm.
he got me above
Mm.
the minimum,
Yes.
to the point that I could believe him, achieve it, and maximize every promise he
Mm.
said.
Listen, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I got to give him a plug right now. You got to see the subtitle right there. It's very, very clear. You know, your greatest potential, and
Potential.
I call it your maximum potential. You plant your seeds to be that which is innate, that which is intrinsic, that which is inherent. And Dr. Ellis, he's a living example of that from this believe, achieve, and maximize principle. Now, you coming up, preacher son, you and I share some very deep, deep stories, man, about some of the struggles in high school, some of the
Yeah.
things you went through,
Mhm.
man. And I gotta say, man, because of you being so anchored in your spirit, there was nothing could hold you down because what you
Nothing.
shared with me was just and us growing up in the late 60s, 70s in high school in the deep
Oh,
south. I'm a product of the 50s. You're a product of the 50s. We know what that was all about. And for you to endure and get through that, man, you gotta share with us, man, something that a lot of people don't understand about that place of being grounded in spirit. Because you, at a very early age, you made that commitment. I don't know if a light bulb came on. Tell me, Dr. Ellis, was it a life experience? Was something happen other than the fact that you're raised in that environment with your
yeah.
father that you say, oh boy, this doesn't happen to me now. I got to do so. And you turn to God first.
No, I tell you what. My mother, my mother spoke to me when I was a little boy, and she spoke to me and said the Lord spoke to her about He gonna do great work with me.
Mm.
And as a matter of fact, my mother's during that time before I was born, she was pregnant with me. It was 16 of us. And
Mm.
I was the baby boy, and she carried so many kids for so long. She was sick, man. Matter of fact, she was on the verge of dying. As a matter
Mm.
of fact, the doctor told her that she had one choice: take her life or take my life, me,
Oh
because
boy.
I was pregnant when the doctor told her that I was pregnant in the womb. The
Uh,
doctor said, "Look, you can't carry this baby longer, so we're
uh.
gonna have to take him, or we're gonna have to take you." And you know what she said? You won't take neither one of us.
Hello.
Me, look what she said. Me and my son shall live and not
Mm.
die. And guess
Mm.
what?
You
Look where I'm
hear?
at today. I'm
How
here.
many
Man, I've been
how
here a
many
long
brothers
time.
how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I got at living during the time it was 6 boys and 5 girls, which was 11. But yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I say 16 because so many died before I was born. You see, so
Yes.
stillborn. Back in the day, they
Wow.
didn't have the facilities and things that they have today. See, there was some things that blacks we struggled way back there, man. We didn't.
Yes, sir.
We were just coming out of a slavery per se, and
Hey,
and and,
what a
and
difference time makes.
Oh
What a
yeah, oh
difference.
yeah, oh yeah,
What a
oh yeah,
difference,
oh yeah.
man.
But now it's no excuse to be successful. See, because they got so much knowledge and everything. I just choose the word of God.
Uh-huh.
Everybody they can choose whatever they want. I'm not knocking that.
That's
I
correct.
choose I choose the word of God because that's what has helped me get over the tough challenges of life, help me get over the humps of life, and
Mm.
help me succeed in life.
Hmm. Well,
You
you
know
know
what I mean?
something? Yeah, I got to say this, and I definitely have to always interject where there's a need to be what the
Yes.
show is all about. My show is about inspiration, empowerment, and education to
Yeah.
elevate you. And what
Yeah.
you're saying right now is so critically important for our viewers and our listeners to get here. You are going to fall down. Every week they hear me singing on my show. We fall down, but we get up. And you know what I'm talking about. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh
Evangelist
yeah.
Kirk would say, it's the thing to do is grow from that experience. And it sounded to me like every time you had a challenge, every time you had to fall down, I guess because you're so anchored in spirit, you're telling me about your mama, you're telling me about your daddy, you're telling me about what your foundation was, even as someone not even 18 years old, and you're making me think about when you say 11 kids. I have two sons, man, and my oldest son, Greg Jr., mother had 14 kids, you know, and she herself a twin sister. And let me tell you something, man. I can remember, and we all know when the family that big back in the day like that, man, what you had to endure. So my brother, my hats, I'm put it off. I'm gonna probably put it back on again to you, but you are the epitome of what it means to wake up. And I tell people that we're mind, body, and spirit. You and I know that because we live it. It took me a lot longer than you. I'm going to be a man about it
Yeah.
tonight. I got to admit to you, I was a crazy, SS fool in the music business. And it
Yeah.
took me all the way out there. It took me falling down and getting up. Same thing as an entrepreneur, falling down and getting up and finally realizing that I got to take the pivot and I got to turn more to where you've always been. So it is just my honor that you're here and you're sharing your life experience. You're doing the things that work. I want to keep the focus on who you are, the books that you represent. This one little simple book, my friends, is a game changer. The subtitle on this book says Living Worry Free in a Stressful World is something that this book is in a devotional about. Now, when I speak about this, and I have one of the questions. Your book, Change Your Thinking, to me, it appears to be a blueprint, right, Dr. Ellis, to shifting your mindset, should I say, to live a stress-free life, to
Yes.
understand that whatever you're going through, this too will come to pass. Now, you tell us how you can help anyone, should I say, implement your blueprint from this book? What would be the key thing that, and especially from the perspective that I have about mind, body, and spirit and living in alignment? I know you just seem to be vibrating from that same perspective because, I call it organized chaos, Dr. Ellis. When people live with imbalance, when people live with organized chaos, when they live with toxic people, toxic environments, it's just, you can do it too. And they get a comfort zone of organized chaos. So you're telling me you don't have to live that way. You can live worry-free. So because of this, and I know we're holding it up tonight, I'm gonna hold it all the way over there on Instagram. I want them to see that. You can go to Amazon and get these books, man, because this man is a game changer. And I want you to share with us why did you just say change your thinking? Why that title? Why that subtitle?
Well, many times when folks desire to get ahead in life or make a difference in life or
Yes.
achieve their goals and dreams, they have a problem with their thinking.
Mm,
What area of thinking? They begin to think doubt that they can't do it, unbelief that it's impossible. So they begin to think doubt, unbelief, and one more, fear. They
mhm,
begin to fear. So
mm.
with changing your thinking, if you're changing your thinking about fearing and doubting and fear, man, you can rise above your greatest expectation. Is all about in your thinking. Matter of fact, the scriptures tells us that as a man thinketh in
So
his
is he.
heart, so
Yes.
is he. Now,
Yes,
as
sir.
he thinketh in his heart, as
Mhm.
he thinketh in his heart, that heart represents spirit. So
Yes.
as he thinketh in his spirit, so is he. So we are
Mm,
spiritual beings. We have a body, a earth suit, but our real us is inside of this body. And
mm.
many times we want to work from the outside body and work our feelings and emotion from the outside body rather than working from the inside where the spirit, where you are, where you the real person.
Yes.
And that's where all the power come from the inside, not the
Mm.
outside. Doubt and unbelief come from the outside. Everything you look at, it looks like impossible to do, impossible to achieve, impossible to dream. But when you begin to believe from the inside
Yes, sir.
out, oh,
Yes.
things change.
Well,
Things change.
I knew we would have a conversation like this tonight because I tell them all the time, there's nothing in your external world that can be greater than the power that, like I said, the 4I effect that you don't forget. That innate, that intrinsic, that inherent, that inborn power in you. And
Amen.
that's all a mindset shift. Now, speaking of that, we are about 25 minutes in. I got to give now, I'm going to shift and just talk about my show that's coming up.
Okay.
And you got your two books, I've got mine, and I'm putting him on the spot to tell him I gotta have him as a special guest on my master class on the Thursday night. Listen, every 30 days there can be a new you activated, and if you don't activate it, it's going to stagnate you. So I'm going to hold these two books up over there for you guys over on IG. Hold the books up ready for you guys on YouTube tonight. You can take the 30-day challenge. I have something called my Get Activated Community. It's $3 a day. It comes to about $97 a month. On Thursday nights, whether you join my Get Activated community or not, it's free. All you have to do is register. The links are right there on the screen right there. And if you do decide to, the link's also there for my Stripe account. All you do is do that. Now, here's what I'm offering every time I do the YouTube show about the Thursday night Strive Masterclass. I have an acronym for Strive. You come into the Strive Masterclass. You study, try, remember, innovate, visualize, and get to educate yourself forever in mind, body, and what he's talking about tonight, your spirit. And find that alignment that he's talking about on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Now, whether you want to join my Get Activated community or not, the class is still free. Of course, I'll still offer you that opportunity. And if you take my 30, 60, 90-day challenge, I call it life's marathon to success. I always just, doctor, if you don't mind me, I just hold up my marathon and tell people, your life is like a marathon. You think Greater
Amen.
Griffin
Amen.
woke up and just ran 25 marathons, even run one of them, which is 26 miles, and I was already over 40? Of course not. And your
Mm.
success story would not happen overnight. Just like as teachers, we know what it means to scaffold. We know what it
Amen.
means to take little
Hmm.
steps,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bits here. Set
You
those
know,
goals, get those short-term objectives along the way. You give me 30, 60, 90 days to run your life marathon to success, I promise you, man, I'll give you a month free after that 3-month period. You'll actually get another month free. If you want more micromanageable coaching, I have something called the 30 Days to a New You MPC, and that's Maximum Potential Coaching. You want that? The links are right there. My website is theactivator.net. You go in, you click the one to the Get Activated community, you're in. Or if you click the one there that says, I want to join it, it'll take you right to my Stripe account, which is still right there on the screen also. So whether you're here or not, you can always go at any time in the future to theactivator.net. Thursday night Strive Masterclass. I'm going to pick one of my Thursdays, and I'm putting Dr. Ellis on the spot tonight because he and I got too much in alignment. You know, and I want to say, sir, and I'm saying this to you with all due respect, man, I admire your tenacity. I admire what you've done to say, I dare to live my dream. I dare to step out of this box and do what you're doing. Now, I call you the Global Empowerment Specialist because you talked to me when we met at a Starbucks. Right after we met that day, the next day or the next day after, a couple of days later, we end up meeting and have a really nice sit-down powwow to just reminisce. And you mentioned something about your international studies, and was it the Philippines, I think, sir?
In the Philippines,
yes. To elaborate on that, and as I segue away from me and put it back on you, can you tell us what happened? How did all of a sudden the guy who's a domestic pastor, got his own church and all those kind of things, all of a sudden you get this opportunity to put global empowerment under one of your accolades? How about that? Can you share with us about the Philippines?
Yes. Well, like I said before, the Lord spoke to me through my mother that I'm going to do great things. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't have a picture of it, but he began to speak to me great ideas. And he speak to everybody, great ideas. It's what you do with the ideas that he give you. When I heard that idea, I was just that type of person to try it, to go for it, because why? What I had to lose.
Hello.
So guess what? I took faith. See, when you say you the activator, faith will activate. Without the activator, without faith, activated, it's do you no good. You can talk about it. You can get excited about it, but until you prepared for action, to get involved, to get it done, you will never see the reality of it. I just was that crazy enough to want to experience the reality of it. See, sometimes you have to be crazy enough where people think that you're crazy, something wrong with you, that you're gonna make a fool out yourself. Those are things that propel you to go higher. If you keep the word in your heart. Because you got to have a light, you got to have a guide. And the Bible says the word of God is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. Notice it's a light to our path. Now we was all created to succeed in life. We was all created. From before the foundation of the world, we was all created, but what happened, we got contaminated. And because we got contaminated, then fear came, doubt came, unbelief came, worry came. You see? So guess what? What I did, because I was a man that had a family that was in the word of God, I began to study that word. And then that word began to tell me, check this out. The word began to tell me, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And then the word told me that with me, all things are possible. The word told me that I can do certain things with him that I can't do by myself. Man, I said, whoa. The word told me that he would never leave me nor forsake me. So when folks came against me, they couldn't stop me. Why? Because he was for me.
Got to slip it back on.
God got a plan. Hey, he got a plan for your life. I don't care what age, what you look like, what you've been through, what you did in your life.
Sir.
It doesn't change God's plan for your life.
Boy, talk to him, minister. Talk to him, preacher. Talk to him tonight. You speaking truth. I had to slip this hat that TV Jakes gave me, man. I had to just slip it back on because I knew there would be intervals where I'd have to just go right back to this. Man, let me tell you something. You are speaking truth beyond what anyone could ever imagine because they're so blurred by their external experiences. You know, the cell phone world right now, the social media world right now, we're living in an age right now, and so much of it is felonious, subjective, versus something that we can quantify and know is that it is not a lie. And see, one thing I love about having people like you on this show from a spiritual perspective, and I don't ever mind. I don't care if the whole show goes all the way in about God first. Man, let me tell you something. I don't mind being that liaison. I don't mind being a person that can bring someone like you, Dr. Reverend Ellis, on this show and tell people that your life experience, you can quantify that it's not a lie, that you turned yourself over to God way back in the day. And you've never
12 years
strayed.
old. 12
See,
years old.
look at that. Yeah, you know,
12 years old. I
how
got,
many,
got married at 17.
look at that. You're going deep on me, man. You know, you're going deep on me.
But this, hey, let me share something. If you can believe
Yes,
see, I'm not talking religion.
yes, that's right.
I'm talking reality.
You're talking spirit. You're talking spirit.
Yeah,
You're
through
talking
reality.
spirit. I tell
Yeah,
people all the time, you don't have to be religious, but you got to be spiritual. I
yeah,
tell
yeah,
people
yeah,
that. You know, a lot of
yeah.
people don't think so, but don't get me wrong. You know, I had my communion this month, and I went to church a couple of weeks ago, and I do believe go in and get the word of God. That's why I admire what you're doing to empower and inspire people to come in, because every time you hear the word, every time you're able to redirect yourself, every time you're able to do as another psalm would say, delight yourself in the Lord, he'll give you the desires of your heart. Do you know that there's so much in alignment with you, man, that is scary? When you start talking about even your financial services license, I got one. When you start talking about you're a coach, I'm a coach. You start saying you're a retired teacher, I'm one too. You know, you had your kid when you were 17. Guess what? I took my girlfriend to the prom at 17 years old.
Hey,
You know,
hey,
see,
hey, hey.
and she was pregnant. And to this day,
Uh-huh.
I'm so just grateful to God that against all odds,
And
and
let
I
me
and I
share some
tell
with you.
people against all odds. I saw the lady on this Tamron Hall show today. I think her name is Tina. Trina, forgive me. She's a big time rapper, produced, got involved with groups like the In Vogue and all that. In other words, our classic lady from the old school R&B. She talked about the options people had about their kids, what they could or couldn't have done. And you and I, my brother, we took the option of let's do this. Let's be the
Yeah.
parents. Let's be the example. And to know that my son now has a college degree. I just saw, him and his wife have this beautiful daughter. It's my granddaughter, just graduated high school, though in Durant High. To know she's now just started college last week. To know that, man, to see my son come in here, man, with his beautiful wife, the life they got now. She's a doctor. He's a great. See, for me, if I drop dead tomorrow and I really decide to keep living like this and not let the enemy win, it worked. It
Mhm.
worked. And it's re-anchored me now. Hey, we've both been on this planet over 6 decades now.
Yeah, yeah,
We're in the fourth quarter, my brother. And you and I
yeah. Oh,
know
yeah.
the further you get into the game of life and the closer you get to the end of the game of life, you better put what my hat say and do this. Now, I have to ask you another very, very, I guess, deep kind of question here, man. You know, you strayed away from me from the Philippines. I got to go back there because you shared something with me about your global empowerment sessions over there. How did they come up? Are you still doing them? And what can, I know you anchor it all back to God first, but something had to happen that you would end up having a ministry, having things that happen that far away from of us. That's just a story worth telling to all of us.
Right. Well, I always had, once I discovered when I was young, the word of
Yes.
God, I noticed that it was different than what a lot of people were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to study it for myself.
Mm.
And I come to discover that I'm not talking about just the Bible. I'm
Yes.
talking about what's in the Bible. There is over 6,000 promises
Hmm.
in the Word of God, in the Bible, that pertains to your life.
Hmm.
6,000. No one never told me that. All they
Yes.
told me to live right, go to heaven, die, this, that. But they never told me how to live while I'm on this earth.
Huh.
And God has over 6,000 promises
Huh.
that cover every area of life from the top of your head to the
Uh-huh.
soles of your feet.
Yes,
Every
sir.
area. So, guess what I started doing? I started specializing in his promises,
Oh,
not in church, in the
uh-huh.
promises, not in
Yes.
going to church. In the
Uh-huh.
promises, not
Yes.
in the music, but the
Uh-huh.
promises,
Yes, sir.
because his promises is what's going to last.
Yes.
He said in his word, heaven and earth will pass away, but
Huh.
my word will never pass away. So guess what? I had to know what his word said about my life. And you know what his word said about my life? I
Mm.
can do all things through
Mm-hmm.
Christ who strengthens. I can do whatever comes to my desire that I have been put. See, you have to have it put in you. So I
Mm-hmm.
can do whatever that has been placed in me. I can get it out, not based on what I see,
Yeah.
not based on the circumstances,
Yes.
not based on my situation, but based on what the word says about
Mm-hmm.
me. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, guess what he told me? I can do this. Everybody else
Mm-hmm.
say, you too short. You can't play football. You
Mm-hmm.
can't do this. You can't do that. You ain't smart enough to go to college. You
Uh-huh.
ain't this. But guess what? He said differently. He
Yes.
said, you can do all things through me.
Mm.
So guess
Man.
what? I chose. I
Yeah.
chose to do it through him than the world.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa.
And
Whoa.
that's where I'm today. Healthy,
Mm.
wealthy, and wise.
Hello. Hello. Well, something I always tell people, man, and I'm just going to go there on this. Your health is your wealth, and people always think I'm only speaking about who they are from a physical perspective, but your mental health, your spiritual health,
All
your
that's
your
important.
all of these things are critically important. And the reason why I say that, and you're a classic example, Dr. Ellis, you discovered sports as a young kid. You and I read that at Middleton High
Yeah.
School back in the 70s. You got addicted to just being a really good
Yeah.
athlete.
Yeah.
And see, the key thing that you had that, and I've always had a praying mama. They read there at Mount Zion Church on Columbus Drive, took me there. I was baptized in the fourth grade. And don't get me wrong, no matter how many times I might have strayed away, boy, it was something in me, took me back to my mama taking me to church, took me
Yeah.
back to being anchored in that there's a power greater than all of that out there. And being in the entertainment industry, man, there was always that opportunity for the enemy to get in and knock you down. And everything from drugs, everything from
Mm-hmm.
alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
promiscuous with women, you
Mm-hmm.
name it, man. All of the above out there. And man, all it took was for me to go through enough of those moments in the valley, Dr. Ellis,
Mm-hmm.
that re-anchored me to say, no, it's not going to be that way. So when I hear people like you come on my show and you go all the way back to the groundwork of spirit, I have 26 strategies I share with people, and I go A through Z. And letter F is always this: you must stay fired up like Dr. Ellis. You must stay focused like Dr. Ellis. And above all things, you must keep the faith faculty activated. Because when you don't and you leave yourself open for the ways of the world, my brother, you and I both know you become a victim of circumstance. And you just telling me, man, from the age of just 16 right on through you until the last breath you just took, you've anchored yourself in what I'm wearing tonight. I normally just wear this hat when I'm talking about spirit, but this whole segment is about that. You said this. I'm just looking at one of my questions. It says the power of a renewed mind, implementing your patented BAM concept is the foundation of your blueprint. I'm going to say that again. This man's concept is anchored around believing and achieving and
And
maximizing.
maximizing.
Okay, and then he said very simply, unconditional plug again, man. Change your thinking.
Thinking.
Because when you can do that, here's a man that's doing it right now. Here's a man that's living it right now. And once again, man, the fact that he and I both gave over 3 decades to the field of education. And I'm gonna tell you something, man, other than being a dad, other than being a husband, other than being a brother, other than being an uncle, other than being someone who can say that family first, let me tell you something. I don't know about you, doctor, but my life as a teacher and me being a high school teacher, teaching kids with special needs in significant cognitive deficits, man, one of the most rewarding things I ever could have done in my life. And I don't know if at those 31, 35 years that you can still echo me with that, because it is something to know that you're mending these young minds. And you know something,
That's
we're
important.
living in a society where there's a big amount of blurred activity going on. People trying to, like the old saying, like Michael Jordan, everybody want to be like Mike. Now everybody want to be like LeBron. Everybody want to be like Simone. Everybody want to be like whoever's that great athlete. And that's cool, but you can never forget there'll only be one like you. There'll only be one like you, the unique you that can come shining through. And you spoke about something. The very first thing tonight, doctor, you said being disciplined, having a burning desire, and staying persistent and consistent. So in your concept of doing the things that you're doing right now, I want to ask you a very simple question as we get pretty close to wrapping this up. What is next for you? You've got your two great books, you got your ministry going. You've obviously accomplished a lot in this journey of life. I can tell you right now, I've got quite a few things. I wouldn't be sitting here on this YouTube show. I wouldn't have a master class on Thursdays. I would still be in the entertainment industry like I am. I wouldn't be a real estate investor. What's next for the doctor that can be an inspiration to the people who are watching us tonight to say, this is why and this is how that I got to do? What's next for you?
What's next for me is to do something I never done before.
Mm-hmm.
My life is about doing things I never done before. I've
Mm,
been over the whole world, about 80% of the world, me and my wife, that I never done before to now. You see, there's things never done before that is
yeah.
in my heart that I want to do. See, you
Yes.
can do what you never done before. It can be great. It can be small. It can be big. The
Right.
key is how you're thinking.
Yes.
Would you allow someone to change your thinking? Are you
Hmm.
going to stand focused, disciplined on what your desire is and what you want to do that you never done before?
Hmm. I love it. To be something you've never been, you got to do something you've never done.
You got to activate it.
Hello, hello, man. This has been so good tonight. I
You got
I
to
can't
activate
tell
it.
people enough of I don't know. I'm looking over my little Q&A talking points, and I missed something that you told us all about BAM. You told me what your mission is for BAM. Uh, I know you're a global empowerment specialist. You told us how and why you're doing what you're doing. And you know something, man, you are truly a light under the sun that's beaming, that's shining, that's telling people against all odds the next level is always waiting. And I say to you, man, please continue on your journey to keep God first. If I can come home to Tampa and be there and visit, I got to come to your church, man. I got to just stop and check in with you and just come by for a moment. One of my mentors and good friends down here who's doing very well, Reverend Dr. Robert Lemon. I can remember
Hmm.
when he retired from the post office, went into speaking full time. That's how we got to know each other. And point I want to make to everyone is that he always had this burning desire and a passion to empower and inspire people. And it sounded to me like God instilled that in you, sir, at a very,
Amen.
very early age. You from 11 children, to tell that very compelling story that your mom chose God, and it kind of reminds me of some of what's the TV ministry, man, Joel Osteen, when they had told his mother that, oh, it's over for you. You can call it, cancer's going to
Hmm.
be dead. 41 years later, man, she was still here. And the very same thing that you're saying, they're elected to say, nope, through God, once again, all things are possible. So I applaud you, sir. I thank you for all that you've been, all that you're going to do. I can only say that, you can give an unconditional plug right now. What are your social media plugs? What's your Facebook? Or where do we get your books? What's on, if anything is coming up in Tampa that you're doing in your area? The floor is all yours before we clock out. I just want to give it to you right now.
Okay, well, I just want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come on, such as you doing, inspiring others. I really applaud you
Thank
for
you.
you inspiring folks all over the world yourself and being activated into their dreams and their goals and their vision. So, I tell you, I'm always excited when I see someone have a desire.
Mm-hmm.
When someone talk about their dreams, I'm excited about it. When
Yes.
someone talks about their desire, I don't get jealous. I get excited
Aha.
about that. Why? Because I have the wisdom that God gave me to help them accomplish that. Many
Yes.
have a lot of dreams, they have a lot of goals, but they don't know how to accomplish it.
Mm.
That's where I come in. I help them fulfill their purpose in life. Now, you can go to Amazon to get my book, bam. You can go
Yes.
there. You can write me to P.O. Box 36, Sefner, Florida. That's BAM, P.O. Box 36, Sefner, Florida 33584. And
Okay.
you can write me there. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir. That's
also,
an easy one. P.O. Box 36, ladies and gentlemen, Sefton, Florida. And just put BAM BAM on it, and
on
some
yeah,
kind of way it's gonna get to the
yeah,
reverend,
yeah,
right?
and then yeah, and if you like, if you want to sow to the vision, then you can just sow and just put my phone number in, and you can go through the bank. They call what, I forgot the name they call that. That they have the service that you put the phone number in, and they're connected with my name,
Yes,
and
yeah.
then
Zelle,
if
you're
you
talking about Zelle.
Zelle,
Yeah.
and they connect that. And if you want to sow a seed to the vision, you're welcome to do it. But most of all,
Yes.
I thank God for you, brother.
Oh man, I
You
thank you,
just keep
man.
encouraging. You just keep doing what you're doing for the heart that you have,
Yes,
that God
sir.
given you. So, man, you stay encouraged yourself.
You know something? And at a juncture in my life, at a time like this, I needed to hear that from someone like you. And I'm saying that with as much sincerity from the spirit in me as me wearing this hat right now, because obviously I'm retired, I'm on a mission, and I do feel that we're all here with a story that matters. Michelle Obama said that she was out there promoting becoming Michelle, and man, just to know when she was talking to those young teenage girls, that was years ago, man, and it was something inside them. She said, "Never ever forget that your story matters." And I know I've been through some stuff, doctor. I've
Yeah.
I've endured
Yes.
through many highs, many lows. A kid like you and I both coming up in the
Yes.
50s. I'm being, in first
Oh yeah.
grade and watching my brother go away to FAMU and all the things that I always aspired to do in my life, and didn't realize that 6 years old, 12 years later, my brother would have already came home from FAMU, gave me his trumpet, and I didn't realize when that trumpet was handed to me that there was this, should I say, activation of this passion that to me, even to this day, no matter what I've done, man, no matter what, I'm still a musician at heart,
Hey, yeah.
still a teacher at heart. I'm still someone who wants to see people be a better version of themselves. When I picked up your book, and honestly, when I said it said how to realize your greatest potential in life, and you got both the reels that I made this week. You got the both of them. When I
Mhm.
said, what did I do, doctor? I said, bam. I said, change your thinking. I said, bam.
Yeah.
I
I
said,
like
change
that.
your
I
thinking.
like
But
that.
that's truth, man. When you
Yes, it is.
believe and you can achieve and you can maximize and you change your thinking, like my man right here that I got to know back in 1970, 71. We went to high school a couple of years together. We were around each other all the time. Every week he went to the football field. I went to the band
There
field.
you go.
He went on to play football. I went on to play trumpet at FAMU. I'm telling you, my brother, I never would even known that to turn the corner, and I mean to intersect at PM Chains, hadn't seen you since we were kids, and that you be sitting there on my show tonight. Let me tell you, so no, thank you. And I'm honored that you're here tonight. And I'm gonna say this to you, man, that I'm sure this episode is gonna be up for a while, and I hope that you'll send people to it. They'll come on the episode. They'll be inspired, to know that if Dr. Ron Ellis can do it, man, come on. You can do it. I can do it. Like he said, man, a guy that right out of high school, already married. Right out of high school, went to college on a scholarship. So I applaud you, man. I started with music. I stopped with it tonight. I'm going to say till the next time, my friends, it's BAM International. or BAM.com, whatever it might be. But like he said, just go to BAM on Facebook, check him out on Instagram. He's all over the place. He's going to be doing something in your area. Dr. Ellis, man, I'm so honored to have had you tonight. You made my night. I want you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hang on a minute. I'm going to log off, but I want you to hang on a minute so we can holler at each other.
Okay, okay.
We're streaming live over here on Instagram tonight. That's going to be streaming. If you want to go back and take in some of this, we're live on Facebook tonight. Go back and take in some of this. I'm going to put this up on my channel, Gregory the Activator. Please, would you please subscribe to my channel? Subscribe to the doctor's channels. I think we can inspire you and empower you. Matter of fact, I don't think that. I know that we can. Am I right, doctor?
Hey,
I know that we can.
Don't get nervous. We got the service.
Hey, I love it. I love it, man.
Hey.
I love it. So until the next time, my friends, and I'm holding you to this now. I got to call you one Thursday and say, come on over, because what you're talking about tonight is so right for anybody that comes on the master class. So we're going to definitely say that that's going to happen. I'm going to end my screen once again and say, thank you, doctor. Hold on a minute for me.